Hiya, I'm Naya, and today I want to try to do the 10 different art style challenge by using cartoons that I like and also webtoons. And the character that I chose is one of my own original characters named Vanessa. She is one of my Cambion characters, and I've talked about Cambions before in my universe, so I'll link that video below, I'll put it in the card above. I don't know, I'll still decide while I'm editing the video. Since she is also one of the characters that will appear in the comic that I've been working on for years, I can't really say a lot about her personality, but what I can say is that she is a minor antagonist of the comic. So I really cannot wait to finally start uploading it, but I just want to have a big buffer so I don't have any hiatuses going on. But like I keep saying in every single one of my videos, I think whenever I mention a Cambion, I'll talk about my comic when the time has come. But I should also mention that in this first fragment of the video, I am obviously drawing in my own art style. It's been a while since I completely finished an entire full body drawing with the way how I put the light in and the shadows. So it was really weird to do it again, but I've missed it, and honestly lately I haven't been able to really draw finished drawings, so this challenge also kind of challenged me to do that again, and I've honestly missed the time that I just could sit down and just enjoy drawing whatever. I think also that my style is very much influenced by cartoons that I watched in the past, and unfortunately I am not going to draw those today. I will draw that in another video where I'm going to talk about my favorite childhood TV shows. But now my art style is also influenced by those and by anime. And I think the most clearest thing to see that the Powerpuff Girls, for example, was a huge inspiration for me is with my older art back in 2014. Those are the earliest drawings that I've uploaded on the internet. You can see how big I draw eyes, and that was definitely the Powerpuff Girls side that kinda like determined the way how I drew those. And also Wings Club, which is why most of my female characters were very thin, and I still to this day am struggling with drawing men. And maybe I should have chosen a male character of mine to do this challenge with to give myself even more of a challenge. But I also want to have fun, and right now Vanessa is one of my OCs that I enjoy drawing the most. I would say that she is also very much inspired by Hawkmoth from Miraculous Ladybug. I'm sorry about that. But that was because I wanted to have a Cambion with a mind control ability, but I just didn't want it to be like a puppet sort of body control. And then I remembered Hawkmoth's whole themes is butterflies or moths. I'm not sure about that one. And I decided, you know what? I like drawing butterflies, so I'm just gonna use butterflies for this character. And now that I'm looking at her design, she also low-key gives up Bloom of Wings Club vibes in the earlier seasons. Totally unintentional, but I still love her for that. She is an absolute icon, if I do say so myself. And yeah, I don't know how else to really describe my art style. Like, I've heard people say that it's unique, which I very much take as a compliment. Thank you very much if you think so. But right now I would say it's a mixture between cartoon and an anime art style, really. That's really it. The Owl House follows a human named Luz, who is an outcast at school, and someday she somehow finds a way into the Boiling Isles, a place full of magic, witches, and other mythical creatures. Oh well, I'm not sure if they're really mythical, they're more like monsters, really. Anyway, this place is full of magic, and she always wanted to become a witch. So she befriends a witch named Ida the Owl Lady, and this little adorable little gremlin named King that I love so much. I would say that he is my favorite character. Also, he is voiced by Alex Hirsch, and I think at this point we all know who he is. But anyway, they go on these silly magical adventures at the beginning of the series, while eventually the real story picks up, and I am not going to spoil that. I know, it's a older series, so probably most people have watched it, but I don't want to ruin it for anybody who hasn't. So if you know, you know, and if you don't, watch the series please. As for why I chose this art style and how Vanessa fits in the universe, I chose this art style because I think it's adorable how the humans and witches are drawn, or like the humanoid creatures, let's just say that. So I really wanted to try and draw Vanessa in this art style, and I decided that she would be a student at the Hexside School of Magic and Demonics. She is a witch in the Oracle track, and I simply chose Oracle because it already suits her quote-unquote canon ability, which is mind control, and the purple just suits her better because her main color scheme is Pennywinkle, which is leaning obviously closer to purple in my opinion. Maybe somebody would say blue, but I think purple is the better choice for her. I would say that Vanessa would be an average student. Like, she isn't the worst, but she is also not the best. Even though she would be trying really hard, honestly. And I also gave her a little talisman in this drawing. And talismans are something that comes up later in the story, which are basically a magical totem that sits on top of a magical staff. And obviously I just had to give her a little butterfly. You'll see with the other drawings, butterflies are always... Vanessa is always surrounded by butterflies, really. I also realized that I could have made her a demon or demonic creature instead of a witch. But also, since most of the main cast are witches or humanoids, I decided to just keep Vanessa as is, because it's already a different art style of my own. So since I had to do it 9 more times, I didn't want to make the challenge more difficult as is for me. Plus, I really like how this one came out. I feel like compared to all the other drawings, this one is the closest to being close to the actual show's art style. I think if I would put her in a screenshot that you wouldn't even notice the difference. Okay, maybe some differences, but I still think it's very close. Since Vanessa is also older than the main cast, I also chose Amity's older sister. I believe her name is Amira, but I am not so sure. I chose her sister as basically the base for Vanessa's design. And in the corner you can already see that I made a rough sketch just so I had an idea of how Vanessa would look like. And I still like the end product a lot. She is ready to kick some ass. Star vs. the Forces of Evil follows a girl named Star, who is a princess of another dimension, and she goes to Earth and befriends a human named Marco. Together they go on silly, wacky, magical adventures and face the Forces of Evil. Like the Owl House, later on in the series it follows a bigger plot that is going on. But honestly, I feel like season 1 of Star Vs. was very good, but then it just kind of went down great. And I know the series got cancelled at some point, but so did the Owl House, and it still ended great in my opinion. But I would still suggest watching Star vs. the Force of Evil. It has such an interesting idea going on, and it's just unfortunate that it kind of ended with a rush. Plus, I really like the art style. I know a lot of people had an issue with it because it's the Cal Arts art style, whatever that means. But I still thought it was cute, and especially in the first season, the animation is so great. It's just unfortunate that the budget cuts were very noticeable in season 2. But despite all that, I still recommend these series because I just love it so much, and I would say my favorite character of this series is Eclipsa, the Queen of Darkness. Already the title alone is so cool, but unfortunately she is a character that appears later on in the series, so I can't really say a lot about her without spoiling things. So, how does Vanessa fit in this universe? Well, since in Star Vs. there are a lot of different dimensions, I've decided to make Vanessa more or less a creature from another dimension that doesn't appear in the series, but these are basically like demon-human hybrids. And they do have magical abilities, but just not to the extent that Star has. And so she can do little mind control, but only on people who are open for that. So she can't really force a mind control on them. Which automatically makes Vanessa in the Star Vs. universe the weakest one compared to all the others that I'm drawing her in. And you know what? That's fine. And for her design, I also did a combination between her demon form and human form. Kind of mixed them together. That created Star versus Vanessa. And honestly, I don't think this is the best style, or the style that came out very close to the original style. I think she is very stiff, and this is probably my least favorite drawing of her. But unfortunately, I did not have the time to redo it, and I just had to let it go and just keep her like this. I don't think it's bad overall, but I think I could have done better if I had given myself more time. But I still like it. Stevie Universe is about this boy named Stevie Universe, who is half human and half a gem. And what are gems? They're basically aliens. Together with this group called the Crystal Gems, Steven goes on adventures to capture gem monsters and such. And later on in the series, it again follows a bigger plot and reveals more of the story, like the Owl House and Star Versus. Stevie Universe holds a very special place in my heart. It's not my favorite cartoon, I would say, but I really love the story and the characters and just the little things that the creator Rebecca Sugar put into the story. And again, I'm not gonna spoil a lot, but the representation in Stevie Universe, to me at least, is very good. And I don't know who my favorite character is. They all have something charming about them. But if I really had to pick one, it would probably be Amethyst. And I don't know why. I just think she is cool. Fun fact, this is also the only series that I actually have OCs of that I still draw and use every once in a while. I did have My Hero Academia OCs too, but they're just kinda somewhere in the void, really. And my Steven Universe OCs are just so much fun to draw every now and then. For Vanessa in this universe, I could have obviously drawn her as a human, but that wouldn't be fun, so I decided to draw her as a gem, and she is a Tanzanite, since that's very close to the Periwinkle Colored palette. And I used Lapis Lazuli as the main base for her, or well, the main base for her inspiration. And for her colors, I basically color picked very closely to her demon form, which I'll put on the screen so you have an idea of what her demon form looks like. And there isn't really a lot to say about this art style. I'd say that this one was, for some reason, the easiest. Well, not some reason. I did draw Steven Universe fan art back in the day. Well, I did not post everything, but I think compared to all the other styles, I had Steven Universe basically under control. So I do think the same like the Owl House, that this one is one of the better ones. The only thing is that she doesn't look like Vanessa because she doesn't have the orange hair. And now I could have made her a fusion, but that would be weird. And for those who don't know what a fusion is basically two gems or more combining into one bigger gem. So that would make her two people in a way, and I did not want that. So yeah, this one Vanessa drawing really stands out from the others, or kind of fades in the background, because Vanessa's orange hair color really does stick out like a sore thumb, which I love, by the way. But still, I still think that Gem or Steven Universe Vanessa turned out great. I really don't have much else to say about her, just that I think that she is cute, and maybe I will draw her again someday. My Hero Academia is about people who are born with superpowers, which can be as cool as being able to control gravity, or as weird as having a hammer for a head. I personally think that this series is a unique take on the superhero genre. I love a lot of the student characters, which is also why I have a video game. I kind of forgot the name of the video game, but you basically fight each other. And my favorite character of the series is Himiko Toga and Uraraka. I honestly can't choose between those two, but unfortunately I kind of lost interest in the anime after season 2. Honestly, I also thought that the main three of the series were going to be Deku, Ida, and Uraraka, which I thought was really cool because you don't often see a female as a protagonist in animes, or shonen animes especially. But unfortunately, that quickly wasn't the case, and Ida and Uraraka were quickly replaced with Todoroki and Bakugo. And I don't hate Todoroki or Bakugo, but I just don't like them. I thought Uraraka and Ida were more interesting, but that's just my opinion. I also do like how much of a more unique faces the characters have in My Hero Academia, especially the characters who don't have a hammer for a head. I don't know, the way how Horikoshi draws eyes differently for some characters and not everybody has the same anime eyes is just so interesting to me. I like the big eyes that Deku and Uraraka have, so I want to use that for Vanessa too. And as for Vanessa in this universe, obviously I'm gonna give her mind control, but then I remembered that there is also another student with mind control named Shinso, who is also one of my favorites. Lucky for me, in my own written universe, Vanessa uses mind control differently. She basically uses butterflies, and as a butterfly lands on a person, she can easily mind control them. Which comes, the Hawkmoth inspiration obviously shows off. But anyway, in the My Hero Academia, she would have these butterflies stuck in her head, and she can just kind of use her hands to shoot them away. And the person, she can mind control the person as long as the butterfly is somewhere stuck on them, which can be on their skin, their hair, their outfit. They just have to be on that person in order for Vanessa to be able to mind control them. I did want to make her a pro superhero or anti-hero at first, but I decided to make her a student, so you can easily see that this is the My Hero Academia art style. I do think that this one came out better. I really do like how she looks, and I don't know if it's very close to the anime art style of the series, but it's definitely not close to my own art style, and I am really happy with the end product. I think she turned out to be so cute, and I love the pose that I've given her, and I think she would be able to fit in the universe easily. I'm not sure if she would be a support hero or a solo hero, but I still think if somebody is able to quickly swat away the butterfly, then she's basically useless, or if she can't land the butterfly, then she is also useless, so she would probably end up becoming somebody's sidekick. Anyway. Listen, in order to watch this show, you gotta be 18 years old or older. Even though I myself was like 15 when I first watched it, I don't think it's as explicit as some other shows I know, but some things can be a lot to watch when you're younger, and I think that if you're younger than 18, you must at least watch this show with caution. I mean, if the title alone wasn't going to tell you that this is going to be a pretty much ecchi anime, then I don't know what else will. Anyway, the reason why I chose this show is mostly because of the art style. I love the rougher edges and the more thicker line art of it. I do like the story of this show a lot, even though I don't really feel comfortable enough talking about it, and also because I do know that my family follows me on my YouTube, so hey fam, please don't judge me on the next birthday we're going to have. Anyway, I'm going to keep this section a little bit shorter because Vanessa is just an everyday human. She isn't an angel, she isn't a demon, she is just a human. So most likely Vanessa would just be a backgrounder. And unlike the others, I know that I said that Star versus Vanessa would be the weakest, but technically this Vanessa doesn't have powers at all, so she and along with another Vanessa that I'm going to draw later would be the weakest. And I still do like how this turned out. The sharp and thick lines are so opposite of mine because I use more rounder shapes and such. And I do think that this Nessa turned out great, honestly. I love her. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention my favorite character of this series, but it's a little dog named Chuck. I think he is silly and cute, and he's giving me Gur vibes from Invader Zim, and I love Gur too. I'm sorry if you're a fan of this series and you think that I'm not talking a lot about it. There's just not much to say, but I am so glad that after years of the first season being out, there is finally going to be a second season almost like over 10 years later, and I am so happy about it. I cannot wait to watch it. Regardless, I do like how Nessa turned out, and I think this is also one of the ones that I do really like. I don't love it because the pose again is very div looking and it's leaning a bit more towards my style for some reason, but I still think that she turned out very cute, and maybe I will draw her in this style again someday. I'm pretty sure everybody knows what Pokemon is, so I'm not gonna explain it. But fun fact about me, I never knew the Pokemon anime were based on the games. Youngest me thought for the longest time that it was the other way around, that the anime inspired the games. I am not sure how I came up with that conclusion, but the only form of Pokemon media that I had for the longest time were just the Pokemon cards and the Pokemon anime. Even though I had a DS at some point, so you would think that I would figure it out, but I just for some reason didn't until I was like 11. Nevertheless, the art style of Pokemon did inspire my art style when I was younger, so that is one of the few styles that kind of made my style as it is today. The only seasons that I've watched of Pokemon were season 1, the season with the Sinnoh League. I don't know which one that is, but the one with Dawn and her adorable Piplup. I also watched X, Y, and Z. And I am watching Horizons, because I do like the story of Horizons. Also, Pokemon Scarlet is the only Pokemon game that I've really played, aside of Poke Park and Let's Go Pikachu. As for Vanessa in this universe, obviously I did need to give her a Butterfree as her partner Pokemon. I mean, just look at them. They match. They have matching bows and I love it. And funny enough, I already thought of my OCs in the Pokemon universe. And this would be Vanessa's team. As you can see, it's mostly bugs, except for Pachirisu and Primarina, because she traded those two with her ex-boyfriend and her current boyfriend. So this would be her team if she never traded the two Pokemon that she traded. And obviously she would be a bug type trainer. I don't know how strong bug types really are, but Vanessa would absolutely adore them. As for her outfit, I did notice with a lot of the female trainers that they did have a bag, something on their head like a hat or a bow. So I obviously had to give Vanessa those. I also gave her shorts because every female protagonist except for the Legends EA one has shorts or a skirt or dress, so I obviously had to give that to Vanessa because it was the majority of the characters. And I also kind of toned down the saturation of this drawing because I do notice that I work with higher saturation compared to the Pokemon art style. So it was a challenge, but I still very much like how Vanessa turned out, and to me at least she looks like a character that could be in the game, or anime for that matter. And I don't know what her role would be. Maybe she would just be a random NPC that you could battle. Or she could be a gym leader, but then she wouldn't use Pachirisu and Primarina. She would use 2 other bug-type Pokemon or just use 4 Pokemon. I'm not sure, but I still like her regardless. And I'll probably also draw Pokemon Trainer Nessa more often in the future. Hey, so confession time. I've never actually sat down and watched the entirety of Generation 4 of My Little Pony, but when I grew up, I was a huge fan and I actually used to draw the ponies a lot, but I lost the drawings. But maybe my mom has it somewhere, I just don't know, and unfortunately I am not able to show you the drawings that I used to make when I was like 7 or 8. But despite me not seeing the series or a lot of it, I do love the art style. It's just so cute and I just had to try to draw it, you know, and I have a friend who is a huge fan of My Little Pony, and if I'm being honest, I mostly know the Generation 4 cast because of Creepypasta, and even though I was interested in watching the show, I just never did. I only watched some episodes if it was on TV, but I never really got invested into it, which is unfortunate because I did rewatch some episodes before drawing Vanessa as a pony, and I gotta say, I love Rarity so much. I don't know what it is about her, but she has to be my favorite character so far. I do remember of the My Little Pony that I did watch as a kid, there was this purple pony whose whole theme was dancing. She had her own dance studio, and I believe her name was like Twirly Twirl or something. I don't know. If I find some information about her, I'll put her in the screen. But I had a lot of toys of her, and unfortunately she isn't in Generation 4, which is honestly really a shame because I feel like she would have fitted in as a background character. As for Vanessa, I did decide to make her a unicorn, and it was honestly between a unicorn or an earth pony. And because her whole theme in canon is that she is being able to mind control people, I felt like making her a unicorn, just having a little thingy sticking out of her head, just kind of fit like the mind control theme, even though she obviously can't do it in the My Little Pony universe, but I still think it's cute. And her cutie mark is a little butterfly because she is also butterfly themed, and my idea for how she would have gotten it in the My Little Pony universe is that she always just had a bond with butterflies for some reason. And I know that Fluttershy also has butterflies as her cutie mark, but I believe that's because she is good with animals overall. Vanessa is only good with butterflies. As for her colors, it wasn't too hard to decide. I feel like her orange hair and purple periwinkle skin suits well together. Plus, she looks a lot like the pony that I used to like as a kid, except that pony was an earth pony. So that's actually just a funny coincidence, to be honest. I might draw more ponies in the future because I really did enjoy drawing this, though I was really struggling with the face for some reason. I don't know, I just couldn't get the snout or the nose right. I don't know how you call it, but that just, to me, it still feels off whenever I look at this drawing. I don't think it's bad, but I feel like it's not very close to the actual My Little Pony art style. Though I really do like how she did turn out. Now for the final 3 art styles, I did decide to draw in the style of 3 of my favorite webtoons. Starting off with School Bus Graveyard. This comic follows a girl named Ashlyn who is a loner in high school with no friends. When her school visits she and a few of her classmates visit a haunted house, and that causes her and these classmates to see monsters at night, which they refer to as the Phantoms. And I did decide to draw in this style because I do love the sketchy art style that the artist gave this comic, and it really gives you the uneasy feeling whenever they are in the monster or phantom world, and I just had to try it. I love it so much. Again, this comic uses very desaturated colors, so I obviously had to desaturate Vanessa too. I feel like in this universe, whenever she goes into the Phantom universe, she is really not that great in defending herself, but lucky for her, she would probably be stuck with other people. Her clothes and look hasn't changed at all, and I should have probably added more scratches to her face and something that really makes her feel more worn out and as if she has been trying to survive for a while. But I just for some reason decided to not do that, and I don't know why. And I also actually ended up to not really make her as sketchy as she's supposed to be. Well, I mean the art style really. I still think she turned out great, but I just don't know if it is as close as the School Bus Graveyard art style. I still think like I said, she turned out great, but it's just too clean to be of School Bus Graveyard. And honestly, I should have redone it and tried to do the more sketchy-esque line art, but it's the same reason with the Star versus Nessa. I just did not have the time to do that. And like I keep saying, I think it's at this point just more reassurance to myself that I'm saying this, but she still turned out great. Marionetta is about a mysterious circus that travels through the lands. Julia, the main character, joins this circus after following her friend Camille. This world is full of secrets, magic, and death. I chose this art style because I really like it, and I think I said it about every single art style that I chose. I really like it, and also this comic is definitely a recommendation. All 3 of these are, but this one, I believe the artist also made another comic called Hooky, which was also a webtoon original. By the way, all 3 of these are webtoon originals. I haven't read Hooky myself, but I am planning on it. But right now I have so many webtoons that I'm catching up on and am reading, so I just can't right now. But I chose Marionetta because it's also very colorful. And as for Vanessa, I decided to make her one of the circus people, and this was really fun because I also had to design her in a new outfit. And oh my god, I didn't even mention this, but the outfits in Marionetta are amazing. I love them so much. So I had a lot of fun designing Vanessa's outfit. I don't know how well it would fit in the comic, but it's still cute. I did want to go back with the butterfly and periwinkle roots, so that's actually the whole idea behind this outfit. And I did not mention my favorite character, but it would be Camille. She's the one that designs most of the outfits in the comic too. And just look at her. She is a cutie patootie. How can I not love her? Like School Bus Graveyard, I kind of failed with the sketchy art style. I don't know what it is about me. I just, for some reason, refuse to do it. Which is also probably why my own comic takes such a long time to finish. But I still think that she turned out great. I do think, obviously, because she isn't sketchy enough, that it doesn't fit in the comic. I mean, Vanessa could easily be a backgrounder in the comic, like far, far in the back. But still, she is very cute. I really do love this outfit for her, so maybe in the future I will draw her in this outfit in my own style. But that is a drawing idea for another day. In Realta, the 12 zodiac signs blessed humanity with magic that corresponded with their date of birth. 14 people are then chosen to be the Realta. They could foresee prophecies, or better known as horoscopes. In this story, the main character is a Virgo named Alwyn, who comes to figure out that a lot has changed from when they were a child. For example, they grew up with magic, but right now magic is illegal. And the 12 zodiac signs have also disappeared. So it's up to Alwyn to gather the rest of the Realta and also figure out what happened 1,000 years ago. Now, I am a astrology girly. I mean, not to the point that I really determine if I like you or not based on your zodiac sign. I just think it's interesting, that's really it. And that's why this comic really spoke to me when I first saw it. I do really love the art style, mostly because it's the opposite of mine. The comic takes place in like this medieval like city. It's very D&D inspired and very LGBTQ plus friendly, because the main character is a non-binary Virgo, I mean. And as a Virgo myself, obviously I'm going to love it. So if you are interested in astrology or just zodiac signs in general, or just D&D for that matter, I definitely recommend Realta. And even though, by logic, I should probably have Alwyn the Virgo as my favorite character, but it's honestly Cassiran, who is a Leo. Now, as for Vanessa, I had to pull up her reference again because I kind of forgot which zodiac sign she has, and surprise, she is also a Virgo! And lucky for me, the author did release a book about the people of the comic, so I do have that book also, and it kind of explains how the magic works and how the people look like from each sign. So for a Virgo, a female Virgo has wings, a male doesn't, but they both have like deer antlers. The fashion is also inspired by medieval Europe, I believe, so that was easy for me to Google for Vanessa. I wasn't sure about the colors though, because I couldn't go with bright colors again, so that's why she is again very much desaturated from her canon look. And honestly, I'm not used to drawing like medieval stuff. It's very much opposite of my own style, so I would say that this art style was definitely the most challenging one. Probably not as much as My Little Pony, but still. I do really love how Nessa turns out. It's not exactly like the comics art style, but it's close enough. Also, Vanessa would use magic even though it's illegal. She just wouldn't care about the law, honestly. And this is it. Those are 11 art styles done, including my own. And I hope you had as much fun watching or listening to this as I had drawing these. I absolutely adore each one of them. Obviously, some I do like more than others, but they each have something that I like, which is Vanessa. Okay, I'm sorry. That was kind of a bad joke, but I really do enjoy drawing Vanessa. Will I do this challenge again, but with different art styles? Maybe someday in the future, but for now, not really anytime soon. So, yeah, if you want to follow me on my art journey or YouTube journey, I don't know what I want to do with this channel. It's mostly just me talking about OCs and other things. I just don't know, really. But if you still like art and you like video games and maybe you have your own OCs, I definitely suggest you subscribe to me, but only if you want to. Leave a like if you obviously like the video or if you like any of these art styles. Comment below which one is your favorite. And I hope you have a fantastic day or night, and hopefully I'll see you next time. Bye bye!